In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Indeed, I have missed you a lot in the last 10 days as I have been out of Egypt. During this time, there was a lot of news about the exchange rates, the الحكمة project and many other updates that took place during these days. So many of my friends asked me about our perspective and view on these updates. Therefore, I would like to say a few important words about the end of the Egyptian borders.
موضوع رأس الحكمة والدولار طبعا من حيث المبدأ فيما يخص الدولار.
The devaluation of the Egyptian pound against the dollar in the last few days is basically due to the fact that trial balloons were launched due to the lack of confidence in the Egyptian pound. But they were shot down because we said that everyone is afraid of the pound and keeps buying gold and dollars. We do not know if the balloons will be reintroduced or not. Everything is at a standstill. People are wondering why the dollar has fallen in the last few days, and in response they have reduced their speculations. The first reason is the sale of a very large area in northwest Egypt called Ras al-Hikmah. It is said that about $20 billion will be paid in cash, and there has been a lot of talk about it. We have to say that we do not know anything about the deal. We do not know what's going on. The news in the media that billions of dollars will be poured into the central bank to help it reduce deficits led to a hit on the black market, with the dollar losing tens of pounds a day in recent days. Secondly, it was announced that the International Monetary Fund will increase the loan to Egypt from $3 billion to $7 billion, and that the deal is close to being approved, provided Egypt allows the pound to float again. Moreover, the United Arab Emirates will contribute $10 billion alongside the European Union's aid to help Egypt overcome its financial crisis. Because Egypt should not suffer, as this will have an impact on the EU, which only cares about its interests. These three factors have been instrumental in driving down the value of the dollar against the pound on the black market. By the way, what matters here, and I am addressing this speech to Egyptians, not to speculators, gold thieves or currency traders, my main concern is for the ordinary citizen who went to the bank in the last few days to secure his wealth by buying dollars because of the hyperbole that the dollar would exceed £100. Why are we doing this? And in whose interest? That's why I'm telling you that we have to speak for the sake of our country, for the sake of the Egyptian citizen who is really down. He has nothing to do with this terrible misfortune that befalls not only him, but also people of limited means, penitents and the stranded. That's my EXPL nation of why this happened and the dollar fell to a certain point. It's all related to the three factors that I've talked to you about because it was an abnormal and irrational rise. The dollar became a currency that people trade and stored like gold, as it was in the past. Let us move on to Ras al-Hikmah, which shows you that Egypt was never a poor country. This is smoking gun from what Allah says in His noble Quran, appoint me over the storehouses of the land. Indeed, I will be a knowing guardian. Egypt is large and has enormous capabilities. Egypt is the third richest country in terms of minerals and quarries such as sand, rocks, marble and the finest types of granite, all of which are found in Egypt. I say this because it will help us now, regardless of those who may not pay attention to it. It is my responsibility to say these words for the sake of history and patriotism. Therefore, we are one of the richest countries in terms of maritime borders, because you have 995 kilometers in the Mediterranean Sea, stretching from Palestine to Libya. Most of these borders, especially the northern coast from Alexandria to Marsa, belong to crooks and corruptors of the defunct regime like the minister who distributes the land to whoever he wants.
محاسيب النظام البائد أيام الوزير اللي كان فتح خريطة مصر وبيوزعها لمن يشاء.
That's why Egypt's crisis is not about resources or capabilities. We will be judged of what we are saying in the afterlife. We will say what pleases our Lord, full stop.
شكرا ولا الضالين أمين. مش أزمة موارد أبدا، هي أزمة لصوص، قلة.
The crisis of the thieves who looted the nation's resources during the last decades. For example, the North Coast who sold that area and to whom and how much is it sold for? Those are the people who have properties in other areas like Vila in the coast, a palace in Lesin El Wazara area or the city of Noor to name a few. But the majority of viscosity is in destitute. Therefore the second crisis is distribution of justice. Why people can't see that justice or do not to see it? The answer is that wealth is concentrated in the hands of a few people, but the majority serve them just to make ends meet if they can catch anything. Hence we need a real reform. So Ras Al Hikmah is a small pivotal area located in the Mediterranean coast between Dabar and Marsa. From 170 to 220 kilometers along the Mediterranean coast, which means 50 kilometers in length. The size of the area is about 180 kilometers converted to 180,000 acres, which has a very pivotal size represented in a triangle whose head in the sea and the legs are inside the Egyptian territory. Its location is close to Europe. Its sand is very important and the atmosphere is majestic, like each area located near the sea's coast, the north of Egypt. Imagine if the Egyptians invested in these areas and ripped the outcome, our economy would be far better, would not it? The idea of developing Ras Al Hikmah was being discussed for the first time in 1975, but the idea did not continue as it is usual and people looted as much as they could. Therefore, Egypt was thinking of developing this area in the year of 2022. Due to the special circumstances we went through, one of the Emirati investors suggested developing this area. But we don't have any idea whether they will own the area forever or long-term benefit.
ياخدوا المنطقة دي كده ويعملوها بقى بالتطوير باللي هم ياخدوه. طب هم هياخدوها ايه؟ تمليك ولا انتفاع طويل الأجل؟
It doesn't make any sense to own the area forever. Yet if it's for long-term benefit, we can talk about that and think. But the complete ownership of the area, like the previous legislation to give the foreigners the right to acquire lands. So what about the right of the successive generations in their country to invest in their lands like Maspero Trinagel? What will they find? We must have foresight, especially when it comes to our country's matters, in not criticizing anyone. This is our country, isn't it? So, if we talk about long-term benefit, it's not a big deal to benefit for 50 or 99 years, which means 3 to 4 generations to come. The most important question we need to discuss it here, and because of which I met people in the Gulf region, it said a man's home is his castle. We do have the capabilities to secure the billions of dollars from inside and outside, and I'm absolutely certain that Egyptians abroad have billions of dollars right now but not exist in the central bank. What I want to say that we need to establish an Egyptian holding company for those working outside the country. Please pay attention to what I'm going to say. It will be a big company, has a $100 billion, 60 billion of which are owned by Egyptians abroad and 20 billions from the National Service Project Organization and 20 billions from the foreign investor.
مملوكين للمصريين بالخارج. 60 مليار من المصريين بالخارج و20 لجهاز الخدمة الوطني، واسمع مني عشان هقول لك ليه. و20 مليار من جهاز الخدمة الوطني.
The ownership structure includes 60% shares held by Egyptians abroad, 20% by the National Service Project Organization, NSPO, and 20% for foreign investors including Emiratis. The capital raised from the Egyptians outside using their wealth in dollars is crucial. Meanwhile, the NSPO offers invaluable assets. Its vast land holdings and development capabilities can be valued and merged into the company's books. The Emiratis can contribute not just investment but their technical expertise in areas like tourism infrastructure where they have proven models.
له مناطق استراتيجية. الأراضي دي هتقيم وتدخل ضمن أصول هذه الشركة القابضة. الشركة القابضة دي زي ما أنا قلت تقسيمتها كده. طيب الشركة دي
What would company invest in? This company with its $100 billion capital base intends to produce tourism subsidiaries would lead to a conglomerate.
الكلام ده ممكن ياخد وقت. لا مش هياخد وقت. ما احنا لو عايزين نستثمر وقتنا البرلمان الجميل يقعد يناقش هذا الكلام ويبدأ التنفيذ، بس له متطلبات. ليه متطلبات هقولها دلوقتي. المتطلبات دي مطلوب انها تتحقق، والا اللي انا بقوله ملوش اي قيمه بالمناسبه يعني. ها يبقى هذه الشركه تشتغل في قطاعات ايه يا حضرات بقى؟ القطاع السياحي.
With the first major project developing Ras Al Hikma, while UAE investors would invest up to $50 billion on ventures, but this consolidated company can raise even more.
ما اعرفش الكلام هل 22 مليار ولا 40 مليار ولا 50 مليار؟ لا ده انا بكلمك في 100 مليار.
The target is $100 billion, but an open-ended higher total is
طب انا
possible.
قلت 100 مليار ليه؟ ده انا لو قلت المصريين في الخارج كام؟ ده انا بقول لحضرتك لان انا مش
I'm just assuming that number at least. So, why I said that number exactly? Because as an Egyptian who met many diaspora members owning properties or businesses in Dubai or Turkey, I went abroad and found every Egyptians working abroad either a project owner or having properties in Dubai or Turkey. They used to buy real estate here and there. Egyptians have the first claim to develop our own lands like Ras Al Hikma if presented well. I don't know where the problem is. Today we have 12 million Egyptians abroad. If we imagine that only a quarter of them, which means 3 million people, were to contribute to a project, and each one paid $1,000, then we would get billions of dollars.
يعني انت كمحمد موجود في السعودية هتشتري سهم في هذه الشركة ب$1000.
For example, if each Egyptian abroad purchased a $100 or $1,000 share, billions could be invested into the company. However, building confidence among Egyptians to invest requires making them feel it would develop the area successfully.
الثقة اللي هتلم فلوس المصريين في الخارج على أرض راس الحكمة وتبقى جحا أولى بلحم طوره ونطورها بدماغنا. هقول لك نطورها ازاي.
Development would not happen through bureaucratic, failing employees spoiling efforts. That would not ever happen as it's bussiness talk.
امال هم كبروا ليه؟ أكبر شركات في المنطقة حضرات أكبر.
Why did other companies grow? Dear listeners, according to reports from American institutions evaluating major companies in the region, the 100 biggest companies are predominantly Saudi and Emirati. Specifically, 33 are Saudi and 28 are Emirati. Unfortunately, Egyptian companies have not yet made it into these rankings of the top regional corporations. This new Egyptian company aims to have $100 billion in capital, surpassing other regional corporations. Egypt deserves and can accomplish things at this level. It is not a small country, never has been nor will be. The holding company plans to invest in developing areas like Ras Al Hikma and Sharm El Sheikh for tourism. Shareholders who invested $1,000 could expect 20% returns within the first year, attractive profits that would attract more Egyptians, growing the company's capital base over time.
As we said before, the company would invest in the tourism sector and develop Ras Al Hikma area, rather than selling land rights. Egypt has a unique stature and respect. With all due respect for Saudi, Bahraini or Emirati, in talking about Egypt, this company would be established by the money of Egyptians abroad, foreign investment, and then they would be investing in the company in developing the area. But management would run professionally by an international caliber, attracting the world's best talents wherever they live. Just like with Gulf companies, the managers of this Egyptian company do not need to be Arabs. Nationality is not a condition. The important part is having the best talent runs the company and ensures its success, complying with strong governance standards. Then the company will operate smoothly like clockwork, not over-influenced by any individual. At that point, you will find the company works precisely and efficiently. Consequently, people's confidence in the business will grow. People's confidence in the company will come from two key factors. First, trust built through transparency. The company will have clear goals to achieve success like leading Gulf corporations. Hence, we will invest in tourism and petrochemical sectors for producing crucial products, chemicals, fertilizers. As in the past, we sold a fertilizer firm to a Gulf investor. But Egyptian companies like ours
صح كده ولا لا؟ والمشروعات اللي هيتم التخرج منها ده احنا اولى بيها. وخاصة المشروعات الناجحة بطبيعتها. طب ما تشتريها هذه الشركة القابضة، يبقى هذه الشركة القابضة هيطلع من تحتها كذا شركة تابعة.
Foremost, this holding company can produce many subsidiaries in critical industries. One subsidiary focuses on developing tourism locations like الحكمة. Another manufactures fertilizers domestically through petrochemical processes. And a third subsidiary mines quarries extracting marble as well as producing sand and glass. These natural resources represent Egypt.
الموضوع ممكن ياخد له شهرين 3 نشتغل على هذه الشركة. عشان تنجح هذه الشركة بقى وتكسب ثقة الناس، لازم اللي يقوم على تأسيسها
This holding company would retain and process such resources domestically through its subsidiaries. In just months after establishment, innovative development of our own mineral riches could make the company highly prosperous. However, for long-term success in maintaining people's trust, the company must be governed accountably by reliable visionaries. This holding company proposal aims to be run by visionaries truly serving Egypt's interests, not self-interested individuals who have too often squandered our potential. The idea is promising, and I'm ready to start and share with anybody who wants to carry out the project. Prove that such idea is trustworthy. For example, when I put forward the idea to be carrying out a project in an area located in Egypt, many people suggested establish a joint company, and we are ready to contribute on it. People need trust. I know that my words might not be heeded. However, I'm looking forward that such decision be revoked by the parliament, and think carefully about the next generation's future. Selling land may bring short-term benefit, but relinquishing national assets is not a real solution. People need trust. I know that my words might not be heeded. However, I'm looking forward that such decision be revoked by the parliament, and think carefully of the next generations if it looks for the sustainable development. This will not solve the problem of the economic crisis and the scarce of dollar. If I sell any part of the country to bring in some dollars, I hope we come up with a permanent solution. The solution to our crisis is strategic production and value-added processing of our natural resources can drive sustainable job growth. This company would gather Egyptians' money and allow them to carry out projects in their homeland, rather than projects that benefit other countries, gain profits from the company and repeat the same course. We get our profits and invest them in other projects like hotels in the north coast, building fertilizers factory, glass factory or marble factory. That's will make our dream come true. And if I'm wrong, anybody could correct me. I hope any representative in the parliament listen to me and discuss that idea and convince each other till we reach a common ground. Egyptians abroad are eager to establish a national entity that would collect their savings and ensure they would return homeland assured of their money. Have I conveyed the message? O Allah, bear witness.